All right, guys, we're going to talk some more about Winn-Dixie today because of Winn-Dixie. We started yesterday, and we did a really great job yesterday of making what? What did we make yesterday about Winn-Dixie, about because of Winn-Dixie? What did we make, Ariana?
A prediction.
Predictions, right? And what is a prediction? What is a prediction? A good guess, right? A really good guess about what you think might happen. Well, today, we're going to do our inner conversation, just like we've done all year, right? But we're just going to focus on one thing. What are we going to focus on today as we're reading, Renaya? Questions. Do you think good readers ask questions when they're reading?
Yes.
Who's ever been reading something and said, I just don't understand what that means? Have you ever done that?
Yes.
Have you ever been reading along and you're doing a really great job reading and then you say, what is that word? Has that ever happened to you? Does it happen a lot or a little bit? Depends on what I'm reading, right? Have you ever read along and then all of a sudden said, I'm really confused? Has that ever happened to you?
Yes.
When you say, I'm confused about what happens. Or what does that mean? All right, right now let's put our Post-its down and we're not going to touch them, okay? So today, as we're reading along, I want you to be thinking mostly about questions. Mostly about questions. Now, you guys are super great at making connections. But what are we going to focus on today? Questions. Okay, so let's open up to chapter 4. And if we are on chapter 4, who can tell me what page I need to be on? Where do I need to be, William?
46.
26. Awesome. Give me a thumbs up when you're there. I think you need to go the other way. Awesome. Okay, great. Now, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to read, just like we do when we're doing inner conversation. I'm going to read, and I'm going to pause at about every page, maybe page and a half. And what are you going to be writing on your Post-it notes today? What are you going to write, Nathan?
Questions.
Any question you have.
Only questions.
Only questions. I want you to focus on words you don't know. I want you to focus on things that might be confusing. I want you to focus on things that you might ask the author, well, why did you say that? And then, when we're finished, we're going to see if you were able to answer any of your questions. Okay?
Yes.
All right. So we're going to be focused on asking the questions, and then at the end, we're going to see if we can answer any of them. Is everybody ready?
Yes.
Okay. This is chapter 4. Oh, let me go back 2 seconds. At the end of chapter 3 yesterday, remember, Opal came in with Winn-Dixie and said, Preacher, we've been talking, and what did she say she wanted? Christina?
She wanted to know 10 facts about her mother.
10 facts about her mother. Great, great remembering. You ready?
Yes.
1, said the preacher. We were sitting on the couch, and Winn-Dixie was sitting between us. Winn-Dixie had already decided that he liked the couch a lot. 1, said the preacher again. Winn-Dixie looked at him kind of hard. Your mama was funny. She could make just about anybody laugh. 2, he said. She had red hair and freckles. Just like me, I said. Just like you, the preacher said. 3, she liked to plant things. She had a talent for it. She could stick a tire in the ground and grow a car. watch what I'm going to do real quick. I know a lot of you are writing this awesome. I have my question right here. My question has what on the end of it? Question mark, right? I have my question right here. I'm going to stick it right on this page, kind of like a bookmark, so I can remember where my question was, okay? I'm sorry to interrupt you. Finish writing your question. When Dixie started chewing on his paw, and I tapped him on the head to make him stop. "For," said the preacher, "she could run fast. If you were racing her, you couldn't ever let her get a head start, because she would beat you for sure." "I'm that way too," I said. "Back home in Watley, I raced Liam Fullerton and beat him, and he said it wasn't fair because boys and girls shouldn't race each other to begin with. I told him he was just a sore loser." The preacher nodded. He was quiet for a minute. "I'm ready for number 5, I told him. 5, he said. "She couldn't cook. She burned everything, including water. She had a hard time opening a can of beans. She couldn't make head nor tail of a piece of meat. 6. The preacher rubbed his nose and looked up at the ceiling. Winn-Dixie looked up too. I'll pause for a second. I see lots of pencils moving. That's great. Number 6 is that your mama loved a story. She would sit and listen to stories all day long. She loved to be told a story. She especially liked funny ones, stories that made her laugh. The preacher nodded his head like he was agreeing with himself. "What's number 7, I asked. "Let's see," he said. "She knew all the constellations. Every planet in the nighttime sky, every last one of them. She could name them and point them out, and she never got tired of looking up at them." "Number 8, said the preacher, with his eyes closed, "was that she hated being a preacher's wife. She said she just couldn't stand having the ladies at church judge what she was wearing and what she was cooking and how she was singing. She said it made her feel like a bug under a microscope." Winn-Dixie lay on the couch. He put his nose in the preacher's lap and his tail in mine. 10, said the preacher. 9, I told him. 9, said the preacher. She drank. She drank beer and whiskey and wine. Sometimes she couldn't stop drinking. And that made me and your mama fight quite a bit. Number 10, he said with a long sigh. Number 10 is that your mama loved you. She loved you very much. But she left us, I told him. I'm sorry, but she left me, I told him. She left us, said the preacher softly. I could see him pulling his old turtle head back into his stupid turtle shell. She packed her bags and left us, and she didn't leave one thing behind. Okay, I said. I got up off the couch. Winn-Dixie hopped off too. "Thank you for telling me," I said. I went back to my room and wrote down all 10 things that the preacher had told me. I wrote them down just the way he said them to me so that I wouldn't forget them. And then I read them out loud to Winn-Dixie until I had them memorized. I wanted to know those 10 things inside and out. That way, if my mom ever came back, I could recognize her, and I would be able to grab her and hold on to her tight and not let her get away from me again. Any surprises? Turn back to the beginning of your chapter. Somebody share one of your questions with me. I'm going to keep my questions right there. Share one of your questions with me. Let's see. Jaden.
How could she grow a car?
How could she grow a car? Who had that same question? I did. All right. How could she grow a car? Did it answer our question? Who says yes, it answered our question? Who says no, I didn't really see an answer to that? What do you think? What do you think the answer might be? Did she actually grow a car?
No.
I don't think she actually grew a car. What do you think it meant? It said she could plant a tire and grow a car. What do you think that meant, Maddie? Okay, what do you think, Sean?
That she put a plant in the tire.
That she put a plant in a tire? Okay, what do you think, Jaden?
That she bought a car.
Bought a car? What do you think, Layla?
She's
A good gardener? Okay, who had another? So, did it answer our question in the book? Sometimes the book's not going to answer the question. I'm going to say N-A for not answered. And is that okay?
Yes.
That's fine. What was your question, William?
How do you burn water?
How, same question. How do you burn water? Now, was this question answered? No. What do you think it meant when he said that she would burn water? Not answered in the book, but I think we can figure it out. What do you think, Ariana?
Like she boiled the water and let it catch on fire.
Maybe it caught on fire? What do you think, Renaya?
She didn't cook, so she boiled the water and she probably forgot to put it and all the water.
Oh, all the water evaporated? That's a good idea. Maybe that. But basically, it was that she couldn't what?
Cook.
She was just not a good cook. Question. Who had a great question? Another really good question. What's your question, AJ? How would she not get tired of looking at constellations? Okay, great question. How would she not get tired of looking at constellations? Okay, I'm going to finish that sentence in just a minute. Did it answer our question that time? Okay. Did anybody have one where you asked a question because you did not know a word? What was that question, Destiny?
What is whiskey?
What is what?
Whiskey.
Whiskey. What is whiskey? Did that answer our question in the book? Now, what if I do not know a word? What are some things I can do if I do not know a word? What's one thing I could do, William?
Go in the dictionary.
I could go in the dictionary. What's another thing I could do? What's another thing I could do, Ariana? Sound it out, okay. But if I can say it, but I don't know what it means. What if I just don't know what the word means? What could I do? Look in a glossary. That's a great idea. Would a fiction book have a glossary? Fiction books don't have glossaries. That's in nonfiction books. What can I do, guys? Help me out. If I don't know the word, Renaya. If I don't know what it means. Ariana? I can reread. That's a great strategy. Could you ask a neighbor? Would that be a strategy? Could you read on? Okay, in our book, did it tell me what whiskey is? But let's go back to that page. It was on that second to last page, wasn't it? It said she drank beer and whiskey and wine. So what do you think whiskey might be? What do you think it might be, Caden? A type of beer? What do you think, Destiny? A type of alcohol, right? So we're making an inference, right? I think it's probably alcohol, and I would agree with you. All right.